Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Ushitva Hastinapure, Masan Kotipayan Hari, Suhridang cha Vishokaya, Swasuscha Priyakamyaya, Stay Hastinapure, in the city of Hastinapur. Masan, months. Kotipayan, a few. Hari, Lord Shri Krishna. Suhridam, relatives. Cha, also. Vishokaya, for pacifying them. Swasu, the sister. Cha, and Priyakamyaya, for pleasing. Translation: Sri Hari, or Lord Sri Krishna, resided at Hastinapur for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister, Subhadra.
So read the purport also.
Purport. Krishna was to start for Dwaraka, his own kingdom, after the battle of Kurukshetra and Yudhishthir's being enthroned. But to oblige the request of Maharaj Yudhishthir and to show special mercy to Bhishma Deva, Lord Krishna stopped at Hastinapur, the capital of the Pandavas. The Lord decided to stay especially to pacify the aggrieved king, as well as to please Subhadra, sister of Lord Sri Krishna. Subhadra was especially pacified because she lost her only son, Abhimanyu, who was just married. The boy left his wife, Uttara, mother of Maharaj Parikshit. The Lord is always pleased to satisfy his devotees in any capacity. Only his devotees can play the part of his relatives. The Lord is absolute.
So, we are personalist. We believe, not the question of belief, but actually the ultimate truth of Absolute is a person. That is the statement of Vyasdev. Vadanti tattattavidas tattam jadgyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti sat. Tattavid, those who are in knowledge of the tattva, of the absolute truth, they know that ultimately the absolute truth is manifested as a person like you, like me. Not exactly like you, like me, but so far personality is concerned, individuality is concerned, he is like us. In the Bible it is said, man is made after God. Because God is person, therefore we are person. Otherwise, where from our personality comes? God is the origin of everything. Therefore, He is the origin of personality, individual. Otherwise, how we are person, how we are individual? Where from we get this personality, individual? So, the foremost feature of the Absolute Truth is a person. And as a person, he has got the same feelings as we have got. As we have got feelings for our relatives, for our brother, for our sister, for our friends, for our enemies, the same thing there is also. If you study your personality or your friend's personality, you can get a rough idea of the Supreme Personality. Because our personality is dependent on the Supreme Personality. Mamai Vangsa. We are simply fragmental personality. Just like the sparks and the fire, or the drop of ocean water and the ocean. The difference is in quantity. A drop of ocean water or a fragmental spark of the fire is of the same quality like the fire or the ocean, but in magnitude it is very, very small. God is Vibhu, the greatest, and we are the smallest. God is infinite, we are finite. Infinitesimal. That is the difference. Otherwise, everything is there as we have got. Just like the son inherits the quality of the father, similarly, we are supposed to be sons of the Supreme Person. Therefore, in minute quantity, we have got all the qualities of God. Not all, 78%. In very minute quantity. That is our perfection. If we revive godly qualities, 78%, in minute quantity, that is our perfection. That is there, already there. Simply it is covered by this material energy. Otherwise, everything is there. So the feelings of affection, there is also in Krishna. So, Krishna expands. Eka Bahushyam expands. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavi Stabhi Jaiva Nijarupataya Kalavi. Krishna expands his energy. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Rasa, humor, mellows, to enjoy. He expands himself. Just like Sri Sarup Damodar Goswami has given us the definition, Radha Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikiti Alladini Shakti Asma Ekatmanavapi Deho Bhedo Gato Pura. Chaitanyakhyam prakatam tadayam chaikamaptam. Radha and Krishna, the same, absolute. But Radharani is the expansion of the pleasure potency of Krishna. We have got potency as Krishna has got. Parasya Shakti Vividhaiva Sriyate. This is the Vedic injunction. Paradeshe, absolute truth, has many potencies, innumerable. Vividhaiva Sriyate. One of the potency is the pleasure potency. Just like we want some pleasure. Pleasure is the constitutional position of spirit, soul, or the absolute truth. Anandamaya Vyasa. God and we, being of the same quality, we are by nature always joyful. So our joyfulness is checked when we are in material condition. Therefore there is struggle. We are hankering after to revive that joyfulness, but this contamination of material energy, Satagun, Rajagun, Tamagun, they are checking obstacles. Therefore, we have to get free from these obstacles. Satagun, we have to go above the Satagun, Shuddha Satta. Then again we revive our original position of joyfulness. Brahma bhuta prasanna na sochoti no. This is the joyfulness. No lamentation, no anger. We hanker after something which we want, and we lament for something which we lose. Here there are two business. Something gaining and something losing. Just like businessmen, they have got two business. Either to make profit or to lose. At the end of the year they calculate whether we are loser or gainer. But in the spiritual world there is no such thing as to gain or as to lose. There is nothing. Absolute. That is absolute. That idea we haven't got just now, but that is the nature of the spiritual world. There is no question of loss, not there is any question of gain. Simply ananda, pleasure. And pleasure means because there is no loss. Ananda ambudhi baddhanam. There is ananda and ananda ambudhi. Ambudhi means the ocean. Here the ocean does not increase. If the ocean increases, then whatever small land we have got, it would have been finished. No, ocean does not increase. You have seen that Los Angeles on the beach, the big Pacific Ocean, but just about 3 years or 4 years off from the ocean, we are walking. We are confident that although the Pacific Ocean is so big, powerful, it cannot come here. Only a few years off, we are walking, confident. So everyone is working under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Ocean, although very powerful, very big, still by the order of Krishna, it cannot go beyond the limit. It cannot go. So, everything Jasagaya Brahmati Kala Chakra Jachakshuri Sasavita Sakala Grahana Raja Samasta Suramurti Asesha Teja. Now this sun, unlimited heat, Asesha Teja, heat, but it is also limited. It cannot expand so much heat so that we may burn into ashes. The sun can do that. As the big ocean can overpower all your cities and towns in a second, similarly the sun also can burn the whole universe within a second. It has got so much potency, temperature. But Jasagaya Brahmati Sangrita Kala Chakra. No. The Kala Chakra, I think the scientists also say that the sun from the orbit, if it comes this side 1 inch or that side 1 inch, one side coming this side, the whole universe will be frozen, and the other side, whole universe will be burned. I do not know whether here is any scientist, they say, but it cannot go this side or that side. Samvrita Kala Chakra, the orbit which is given by Krishna, that you shall travel within this orbit. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhaja. So everything, and what to speak of ourselves. We want to become independent. What is the meaning of independence? Even the sun, moon, or the sea, ocean, nobody is independent. And how we can be independent? We are teeny, very small. There is no question of independence. The so-called independence, as we fight for independence, that is Maya. There is no question of independence. When I first met my Guru Maharaj, on the first meeting, he said that you go to preach in the Western country. I was surprised. There was no acquaintance. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message, you are all educated young man, you should go and preach. I replied that we are dependent nation, Indians, who will hear us? Nobody will hear us. So at that time he explained dependence and independence. Temporary, it has no meaning. Actually, at that time I could not realize the independence. We are waiting for independence. What independence we have got? Independence means you go for 1 kilo of rice and stand there for 2 hours. This is our independence. Everything is controlled. You cannot get. And the price, before independence, the price of rice was 2 annas or 5 rupees, 6 rupees per month. 2 annas per kilo. Now it is more than 2 rupees. Everything. Practically we have increased our dependence, not independence. In the name of independence, we have increased our dependence. So actually there is no independence. But we manufacture so-called independence. Nobody is independent. I thought we are so much dependent on the state rules and regulations. America is independent. When I went to America, I saw they are so dependent that any young man could be called for military service without any objection. So the whole nation is dependent on the whims of the military board. So dependent. So we are dependent. So long we are under the control of Maya, we are dependent. We are dependent. Our constitutional position is dependence, servitude. So by false declaration, we think that we are now going to be independent. We shall not serve Krishna, we shall become independent. I shall become Krishna. As the Mayavadi thinks that he shall become Krishna, I shall become God. That is another dependence. We cannot be independent, that is not possible. And to remain dependent, that is our happiness. That we do not. Instead of declaring independence, if we remain dependent, that is our happiness. Just like children, women, Shudras, their happiness, dogs, their happiness is when they are dependent. Artificially, now in India also, the women are imitating independence. But I have seen in the Western countries, in your country, the independence, declaration of independence by the woman class is not their happiness. They are unhappy. Better to become dependent upon father, upon husband, and upon elderly children. That is their happiness. Just like Kunti. Kunti, so much qualified lady, she can call any demigod. She got one benediction from Durvasa Muni. When she was a young girl, she said Durvasa Muni, Maharaj Kunti Bhor used to invite so many saintly persons. That is the system in India still. So once Durvasa Muni became a guest of Maharaj Kunti Bhor, and Kunti served the Durvasa Muni, and he was very pleased. And he gave her one benediction that you can call any demigod by your sweet, as soon as you desire the demigod. So, Kunti, she was a girl, she made an experiment, immediately called the Surya, the sun god, and he came. So, Surya asked him that you have called me, you take some benediction, take a son from me. She refused, no, I am unmarried, I cannot. No, there is no harm. Your son will be born from the ear. Generally, the son is born from the vagina, but Kunti's son was born from the vagina. Therefore, Karna. The first son was Karna, unmarried. Therefore, Karna was, I am to say, given away, because he could not sew. And when Karna was floating on the water, that one carpenter picked up, and he raised him. The Karna was known as the carpenter's son, Shudra's son. Actually, he is Kunti's son. So when Karna was killed, Kunti began to cry. And Yudhishthira Maharaj inquired, Mother, why you are crying? At that time she admitted, Karna was my son. Oh, such a secret you did not disclose? we treated Karna as our enemy, we could have taken. So there are so many incidences like that. So, there are so many things in the Mahabharata, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, you can learn. Social, political, economical, philosophical, religious, anything. Veda means knowledge. So these are Vedic literatures. Pancham Ved, Mahabharata is Pancham Ved. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of Vedic knowledge. Nigama kalpataror golitam phalamidam. Nigama means Vedic literature. And it is kalpataru. Kalpataru means desert. Whatever knowledge you want, you will get it. Veda means knowledge. Vetti Veda, Veda Jnana. So Veda means Jnana, knowledge. Any type of knowledge you want, there is in the Vedic literature. So it is meant, Veda, Jnana, knowledge is meant for the human society. It is not meant for the animals. Animals cannot study Veda. And what is the purpose of Veda? The purpose of Veda is to understand Krishna. Vedashta sadvai ahameva vedyam. This is Veda. If you try to understand, or if you understand very little, you cannot understand Krishna fully. Krishna himself cannot understand himself. So, it is not possible. But whatever Krishna is speaking about himself in the Bhagavad Gita, if 1% you can understand, then your life is Vedic knowledge. That is Vedic knowledge. Vedashta sadvaya ahami Veda. So, all these relatives of Krishna, the Pandavas, his sister Subhadra, Krishna Balaram Subhadra. Subhadra was sister of Krishna. So Baladev wanted to hand over the sister to Duryodhana, and Krishna wanted to hand over the sister to Arjuna. Two brothers, difference of opinion. But elder brother's order cannot be disregarded. Therefore, Krishna planned that Arjuna may kidnap his sister. So Subhadra was kidnapped by Arjuna in the dress of a sannyasi. Don't learn this business, sannyasi. But Krishna planned it. That will come because he was known, he becomes as ordinary Arjuna, then he will be recognized because he is the cousin brother. Therefore, he covered himself as a sannyasi, just like Ravan. Ravan also kidnapped Sita Devi as a sannyasi. So in former days also, the sannyasis were very expert in kidnapping. Yes. Therefore, in the Kali Yuga, sannyas is forbidden because they will not be able to follow the rules and regulations. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inaugurated, he himself became sannyas. Therefore, we are trying to follow his footsteps to accept sannyas. But we should not become a sannyasi like Ravan. No. We should try to follow the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very strict. No woman could approach him they were allowed to offer obeisances from distant place. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict about asking. Even in his grihastha life, he was very strict. He would not play any joke with any woman, except his wife. And that also, once he joked with his wife, not with any other woman. So he was so strict. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's opinion is that Vishahinam sandarsanam athajusitanch ha hanta vishabhakshanad dappasad. Vishahinam sandarsanam, to mix very intimately with the Vishayis. Vishay means those who are very much fond of eating, sleeping, mating and defending. They are called Vishay. They have no other business. So practically at the present moment the whole world is Vishay. But this line, Krishna consciousness line, is so transcendental that one has to give up this Vishay idea. Vishaya chariya sera se mojiya mukhe bolo hari hari. We chant Hari Hari, but actually Hari Hari, I don't know. We can chant Hari Hari only when we give up Vishaya. Vishaya chariya serasi. Otherwise, Hari Hari is not purely chant. Therefore, there are 10 kinds of offenses we have to give up. Shuddhana, when we chant pure Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then we are elevated to the platform of transcendental love. Otherwise, we can attain up to liberation, not on the platform of loving. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict about Vishayi and Stri Sangi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked how to, what is the business of a Vaishnava? He summarized in 2 lines. Asat sanga tyagi Vaishnavacha. Asat sanga tyagi, to give up the association of asat. Asat means materialistic. So who is asat? Now, asat acts Trishangi and Krishna Bhakta. Those who are too much attached for material enjoyment, they are asat. And one who is not devotee of Krishna, he is also asat. So you have to give up the company of this kind of people who are too much materially attached and is not devotee of Krishna. If we can avoid these 2 persons, then we can be fixed up in devotional salvation. Sa Vishishta Hastinapuri Masan Katipayan Hari Srihidang Cha Vishokaya Sasuscha Priyakamaya. Sasu means sister and the relatives. So although Krishna is unattached, still he observed the social obligation. There was great fight all of them lost their relative. Not only the Kauravas lost everything, but the Pandavas also. Just like Subhadra's son, Abhimanyu. He was only 16 years old. And his wife Uttara, she was once taught by Arjuna. She was disciple, student. Arjuna was teaching her dancing. Virat Raj, King Virat's daughter, Uttara. They were in disguise, Ajñātavās. So the Virat Raj did not know that Arjuna was living in his house. So this daughter of Virat, Uttara, when Arjuna was known that he is Arjuna, he requested that you marry my daughter. So Arjuna said, no, how can I marry? She is my disciple. She is my student. She is just like my daughter. How can I marry? Then he promised that I shall get her married with my son, although he is not very grown up. So Abhimanyu was Krishna's son from the womb of Subhadra. So he was married. Only 16 years, almost of the same age. Fortunately, Uttara became pregnant. So Abhimanyu went to fight in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He never returned. So Parikshit Maharaj was posthumous child. He took his birth after the death of his father. He did not see, not only father, many, because it was after the battles. He was the only survivor of the whole Kuru dynasty. So he was also attempted to be killed by Ashwatthama, by Brahmastra. Krishna said, so Parikshit Maharaj was born after the death of his father. The grandfathers took care of him, and as soon as the child was grown up, all the grandfathers, Pandavas, entrusted the kingdom to Parikshit Maharaj, and they left home. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Om Ganadimyandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakchurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutaye Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Prasyatya Desatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we read a lecture from Srila Prabhupada, Canto 1, Chapter 10, text number 7. So the text goes, Usitva Hastinapuri Masan Kati Payan Hari Surya Damcha Visokaya Svasucha Priya Kamayaya. And the translation, Sri Hari, or Lord Sri Krishna, resided in Hastinapur for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister, Subhadra. So Sri Prabhupada started off the lecture speaking about personalism. So there's a certain verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, if you can recall what it is. Yes. Vedanti tatal vidas tadvam yajyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabhyate. So, Sri Prabhupada, I spoke about those who are actually tattvavit, that tattva is those who are in knowledge, and he was making the point about a person that those who are actually in knowledge, it's a statement of Vyasadeva, is that the absolute truth is a person. So Sri Prabhupada goes on to speak about our relationship with Krishna in terms of this personal relationship, and he mentions a specific word from a certain verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Yes, that's it. Mameva, yes. That were fragmental parts and parcels. So Sri Prabhupada gives different analogies. One analogy is like of the sparks and the fire, and then another analogy is like the drops of water in the ocean. So to signify that we're basically minute, infinitesimal, and Krishna is infinite. So that we're simply minute living entities, and he states that that Krishna is Vibhu. So we're, I believe that word is Anu, that we're in terms of minute. If you can recall about the qualities, about Sri Prabhupada mentioned about a certain amount of qualities that we have in relation to the Lord, a certain percentage. 78%. Yes, 78%. And he also mentions about the nature of the soul and the spiritual world. So he first of all mentions about Radha and Krishna, the same absolute, but Radharani is the expansion of the pleasure potency of Krishna. We've got potency as Krishna has got. Parasya Shaktir Vedevam Shurete. So they say that the absolute truth has many potencies. So Sri Prabhupada goes on to speak about a certain quality, if you can recall. Yes, Ananda, that we're joyful. Sri Prabhupada mentions that the spiritual world is just Ananda. In the material world, it has the dualities, and our conditioned nature is actually what stops Ananda. So, being engaged in material life, we're checking the joy of Ananda. Yes, Sri Prabhupada mentions, but that is the nature of the spiritual world. There is no question of loss, nor is there any question of gain. It's simply Ananda. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about how do we become, happy in that sense. What are we missing? That's part of it, but he mentioned a certain word about about our relationship with the Lord and a certain propensity we have. Yes, dependence and independence. So we have the wrong idea that we think basically our independence will give us happiness, but in actuality is our dependence. So Srila Prabhupada says, in the name of independence, we've increased our dependence. Srila Prabhupada gives examples like he talks about rice and so on, that the value of rice has actually risen, and we can see this as well in the material world, that everyone is trying to be happy, and in comparison to Vedic culture, nowadays we have more and more dependence, that we're all caught up in what we call the rat race, or that we have to work so hard. And when we talk about Vedic culture, they say that we'll be working 3 months a year to produce the necessities of life. So it's we can see that actually if we live a more simple life of dependence on Krishna, all our necessities are supplied. So Srila Prabhupada, he speaks about in terms of the Mahabharata, the Vedic scriptures. So can you remember what he mentioned about the Vedic scriptures? Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I think Srila Prabhupada mentions that Ved means knowledge.
Yes, yeah, so Veda means knowledge. He mentions, well, like Kalpa Taru, that the Vedas are like a wish-fulfilling tree, so all the knowledge is within the Vedas. And also about the topic of sannyas in this age of Kali, that sannyas, it's interesting, Srila Prabhupada says sannyas is forbidden in this age of Kali, because he actually mentions that we can't take sannyas because we wouldn't be able to actually follow the rules and regulations. So then Srila Prabhupada says that Lord Chaitanya did take sannyas, so then we try to follow in his footsteps. So this is interesting that first of all, it's not so straightforward to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya in terms of he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but so he was in the role of a devotee. So in that sense, we try to follow in his footsteps. And I've heard Srila Prabhupada speak to his disciples about, in terms of taking sannyas, and he would say just to take sannyas, and they would say, but I'm not like sense controlled, and then he would say just that by Krishna's mercy you'll be able to overcome. So that seems to be Srila Prabhupada's philosophy, that we're all mercy cases, and by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya we can overcome these obstacles. And finally, something Srila Prabhupada mentions about being successful in material life or spiritual life, that there's 2 specific things that we have to try and give up. Yes, yeah. Do you want to? Okay, yeah, so Asat, Asanga, so Srila Prabhupada says that to be free from the influences of material life, that we have to give up the association of materialistic, worldly-minded people, and also to have the association of devotees. So these two things will keep us more on the path of devotional service. Before we conclude, I'd like to ask if there's any questions. Yes, please, Karen Boo.
Thank you for the summary, Prabhu. I just had one question. So, Prabhupada mentioned about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking sannyas. So it came to mind that why did Mahaprabhu actually take sannyas? Because then on another hand, you could say that he said, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nasi, Shudra Kenano, it doesn't matter. So can you maybe just elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, I heard the reason that Srila Prabhupada or Lord Chaitanya took sannyas was for preaching purposes, that in his current situation in Navadvip, that he was getting a lot of disrespect from unnecessarily from his contemporaries, and he took sannyas so that it's just their culture, that they be kind of influenced by their culture and they naturally give respect to a sannyasi and they listen to a sannyasi. So due to the dress, due to their conditioned nature, kind of based on externals, they would not take Lord Chaitanya so seriously, but using that same idea with the dress of a sannyasi, they would take him seriously. I'd like to ask if there's any more questions before we... Okay, thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Sri Prabhupada ki. Sorry.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,